Have you ever dreamed that scares you? No, I'm not talking about the kind of nightmares, dreams that cause you to wake up in a cold sweat. But I'm talking about where your dreams, your goals, your vision, your ideas, they seem so big and so overwhelming and seem impossible to attain to the point that it scares you to even pursue and go after it. Today, we're going to talk about how to overcome those fears. Josie Bissett said that dreams come in a size too big so that we can grow into them. Many of us, we have big dreams and goals that we want to accomplish, but the number one obstacle to pursuing after those dreams is fear. See, fear is something that confines us and keeps us limited and keeps us from pursuing after the very thing that we should be pursuing because it paralyzes us, right? Now, when you think about fears, you understand that there are different kinds of fears, right? There's the fear of the unknown. There is the fear of uncertainty. There's the fear of failure. There's also the fear of success, which is a huge one. There is fear of rejection. There is fear of feeling like a fraud, imposter syndrome. No matter what kind of fear it is that you're dealing with, oftentimes it has the same result, where it keeps you in a place of being paralyzed and puts you in a position where now your dreams will go unfulfilled. See, many of us have big dreams and it's scary. But usually that fear comes from the fact that we have no idea how we're going to accomplish those dreams. We dream big and we see where we want to go and we see where we are, but it's that middle part, because of the fact that it's an unknown place, it's an unknown journey. There's so many uncertainties, there's so many hurdles, there's so many challenges that come with that middle ground that ultimately we become afraid. When you consider all that it entails, this journey of pursuing dreams, many people remain stuck and live unfulfilled lives because they're paralyzed by that fear. And because of the fact that they're afraid of those different moving parts, they find themselves in a position where now they don't pursue it. And ultimately, you end up with regret. Now, anybody who knows regret understands that regret hurts a lot more than failure. See, failure, you can learn from your mistakes, you can pivot, and you can pursue another direction. But when it comes to regret, you're now stuck in that place of disappointment, that place of unfulfillment. You're stuck in that place of, I wish I could have. So the question I throw out to you is, what do you do when your dreams scare you? First and foremost, you have to accept that your dreams are supposed to scare you. There's a common saying that says that if your dreams don't scare you, then it's not big enough. It has to scare you. Why? Because it has to be big enough that you can grow into it, and it has to be big enough that you can't pursue it on your own. See, when your goals are big enough and your dreams are big enough, it allows room for growth, it allows room for maturity, it allows room for experience and development. And then it allows you to build proper relationships and partnerships. You see, when your dreams are big enough, then it gives you the opportunity to grow into who you need to become. And in doing that, it produces stability, it produces sustainability, it produces a partnership and network opportunities. And so when you understand and you accept that the bigger the dream, the scarier it should be, and accept that it's a part of the journey and it's a part of the process, then it gives you the strength to pursue after your dreams in spite of the fact that you're afraid. The next thing to do is identify exactly what those fears are. Why are you afraid? Or why does it scare you? What exactly scares you? See, when you're able to identify it and create definition around it, then it gives you a better understanding on how you can overcome it. See, fear plays on your emotions. It plays on the fact that you don't know. And so it hides in the shadow of the unknown. And so when you're able to add definition and get a better understanding of why and what the source of your fear is, now it puts you in a position where you take your power back and you can develop a strategy to overcome those fears. Also, when you are able to identify what those fears are, you put yourself in a position where you can now remove and detach your emotions from it. As I said before, fear plays on your emotions and oftentimes produces an irrational response. See, what happens is you feel the fear and then your mind starts to find irrational reasons to justify being afraid. And as a result, it creates this paralyzing, crippling effect. And so when you're able to detach your emotions from it, now you remove that power that creates that paralysis, and you are now able to make more rational decisions. So identify, why are you afraid? And when you identify that, then you can move on to the next step. After you've identified those fears, now you can start creating a strategy to challenge and combat those fears. One of the things that I encourage people to do is to start creating positive affirmations to help reaffirm their ability to become the leader that they need to become. Because fear produces negative self-talk, and negative self-talk will paralyze you and cause you to talk yourself out of doing the very thing that you know that you're capable of doing. And so start to build positive affirmations, start to confess positive affirmations. And in doing that, you change your thinking, you improve your emotional state, and you increase your motivation. And that will build your confidence in pursuing after your dreams. Because the truth of the matter is, you are more than capable of doing the very thing that you desire to do, but it requires you to start believing in yourself. And in believing in yourself, you develop the strength that you need to take the journey of accomplishing your goals. Now, the next thing that you need to do is create an action plan. Start to think about and plan how you're going to accomplish your dreams. What do you need to do? Who do you need? What resources do you need? What do you need to learn? Who do you need to learn from? When you start to create an action plan around these things, now you develop a step-by-step process that will take you along that journey. See, a lot of us, we become overwhelmed because we see the end goal and it's so big and so overwhelming that we feel that we can't accomplish it. But when you're able to break your big goal into smaller steps and smaller milestones, now it becomes something that seems more achievable and it seems more realistic. And so in creating an action plan, you start to work backwards and you start to figure out, what do I need to get to the next step? And when you start to think in terms of steps rather than in terms of leaps, then you put yourself in a position where you can easily move forward towards your goals. The next step in the process of overcoming and accomplishing dreams that scare you is to give yourself grace to make mistakes. We have to understand that on this journey, you're going to make mistakes, you're going to fail, but that's all a part of the process. John Maxwell has a book that says sometimes you win and sometimes you learn. And so you have to be able and be okay with learning from your mistakes and learning from your experiences, because ultimately that helps with the growth process, the maturing process, and helps you to be a better leader. Be okay with making mistakes. Give yourself grace to grow. Give yourself the grace to learn. Don't get caught up in beating yourself up about the mistakes that you made, but use those mistakes to help you to grow and to learn and ultimately keep moving forward. There's a saying that says you fail your way into success. And so it's important to understand that if you want to strip the fear from what makes your dreams scary, is to understand that even though I'm going to make mistakes, I'm okay with that as long as I evaluate, reflect on them, and move forward. The next step that I want to leave with you is take the first step. As I said, this journey is a marathon, not a sprint, and you have to be willing to take the first step. Many of us become paralyzed not because of the overall journey, but because of the fact that we're scared to make that first step. What if it doesn't work? What if I fall? What if I make mistakes? But when you develop the courage to take the first step and you focus on that first step, then you can focus on the next step, and then the next step, and then the next step. And then ultimately you start to build your rhythm. You start to learn what works for you and what doesn't work for you. You start to learn your leadership style, and eventually you start to run into your purpose. It's like a baby, right? A baby first has to learn how to crawl, and then has to learn how to walk. And when you see a baby learning to walk for the first time, they're hyper focused on making that first step. And when they make that first step, then they're focused on making the second step and the third step, until eventually they start to build their rhythm and begin to run. And so I encourage you, take that first step. See, what will happen is as you take that first step with courage, then eventually over time and through experience, you will build your confidence. And then ultimately, you'll develop enough confidence that you can run without worrying about falling or worrying about failure. Now, I hope this was helpful in helping you to understand that you have the ability to accomplish the dreams that scare you. So your dreams have to be big enough that you can grow into it. And ultimately, at the end of the day, you were built for this. There's a reason why you're passionate about the things that you're passionate about. There's a reason why you have the dreams that you have. They are God-given. And when God gives you a dream and gives you a vision, he gives you the provision to accomplish it. When you recognize that you have everything inside of you to accomplish those dreams, then now you can remove the fear and remove the crippling effect of unfulfilled dreams. And so I encourage you, follow these steps, follow the process, take the journey, and grow into the leader that you were called to be. Thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to hit the subscribe and notification button as I'll be dropping more content to help you grow in your leadership journey.